All right. Good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday again. All of you not in Indiana, I hope you're seeing the sun lots more than we are here. We are not seeing it at all, and it's been a little bummer. It's summer, and yet we're, yeah, pining for the sun. So we are obviously seeing a lot of shifts in the market right now, right? And that is just going to be our conversation. You guys are going to get sick of hearing me say that word because it's so important. And it's just what you're going to be dealing with for many years to come is this shifting market, right? From what we had a couple years ago as a very extreme seller's market, and we will move ourselves back likely. I mean, who knows? And how long it'll take, we don't know. And what could all happen in the middle, but back to a buyer's market. So let's start today. What we're going to talk about is how is that playing out in your businesses, right? How's that affecting you guys? And then more than that, what are the scripts you need to be having, right? What are the conversations you need to be having in order to really make sure you are getting these buyers under control? Okay. So let's just talk first about why. Okay, stay with your buyers. Number one, tell me if I'm right on this. Give me a thumbs up, digital or hand, or feel free to throw it in your chat box as well. How many of you have more buyer um, non-motivated leads? And let's just stay with sellers right now, too. Non-motivated leads in your pipeline. Here's what non-motivated leads sound like when you're a realtor. It sounds like, yeah, we'd really love to buy, but the perfect thing just isn't there. Okay, that's one thing we hear a lot. Oh, the interest rates might be too high, right? Or I just really haven't found the right thing yet. Okay. So, as a realtor, sometimes we chalk that up to things we can't control. Okay. That's not in our control, right? Like, and what I want to tell you guys is that today it absolutely is in your control and what you can do and what conversations you can have about it. Now, let's get clear on what's in your control. What's in your control is not if they buy now or if they buy 24 months from now. Okay, so that's what I want you guys to know. When we're having these conversations, we aren't going to change their life, we aren't going to change their situation, and we're likely not going to change their um, adversity to risk, right? Because that's what this is about. It's how risk averse they are and how willing they are to get into this market that we're talking about right now. Okay. So, your job, right, is to find out all that stuff and then educate them on the market they're buying in, and then find out how you can help them and where you can help them. Okay. So, all of this is going to come out in your pre qualification. Okay. So, let's talk about this. So, here's the three things you're looking for when you are pre qualifying your buyers. Okay. And pre qualifying at a super high level is so important. Okay. So, number one, three things you're looking for when you're pre qualifying your buyers. Number one, motivation. What is their motivation? Okay. Because depending on how motivated they are to buy, is going to be whether they can work in the market we're in or not. And I'm going to give you an example of that. Okay. So, number one, motivation. We're going to find that out. How motivated are they? Number two, what are their agent requirements for who they want to hire to work with? Right? We miss that part. We spend so much time on what are they looking to buy. We forget to really ask them about, and who are you wanting to hire to help you do this? Okay. And that's a huge piece. What are their agent requirements for us? And are we the right one? And then the third thing is, do all of those things align? You guys know I love that word alignment, right? It's about finding alignment between your skills as a realtor and their needs, wants, and motivation as a buyer. Okay. Okay. So let's talk about a little bit, okay, when we're into this motivation thing, right? If they're saying, well, interest rates are too high right now, right? They're everywhere. We don't know what they're doing. And that's what a lot of buyers are saying. Actually, what I want you guys to do is go ahead and throw for me in the chat box any objections you're hearing from buyers right now. What's keeping them from writing offers today? Okay, what's keeping them from writing offers today? All these people that are in your pipeline that are just on the fence, they're not jumping off to do something. Okay, now let's talk about 2 years ago. I like to put our hats on because so many of you were in an extreme seller's market. You got to live it and see what it was like. When we were in an extreme seller's market, our average listing was selling in a matter of hours. We were getting always multiple offers on them, right? Like you absolutely were competing with other buyers. You were waiving inspections. You were putting lots of extra cash down, right? Does all of this sound familiar a few years ago, what we were doing in our market? Lots of extra cash down, right? So who were our motivated buyers? Who was buying then? Who was motivated to get on that bus? Kim, we're going to get there. Who was buying? They had to, right? They absolutely had to. They were moving, they were divorcing, they were whatever. They had the money to do it, right? Money did not matter. They had extra cash lying around. That was their motivation to get into the market, right? They had the extra cash. And what motivation looked like to those buyers was I have cash and I'm willing to spend it. Okay. That's a sign of motivation. Right now, what are we hearing? I have cash, but I'm not willing to spend it maybe as likely as I was 2 years ago. Kim Kaiser, we're writing offers, we're just going in too low and losing, right? You aren't motivated to do what it takes to win offers right now. Okay, are you guys seeing where all of this acts? If they were highly motivated, nothing matters. The interest rates do not matter for a highly motivated buyer or seller. The prices don't matter, right? If you are highly motivated, it doesn't matter, right? Okay, so here's what we've done. Everyone that was calling you was highly motivated last time. They were ready, able, and willing to get into this market. And now that's shifting. They're just not as anxious, right? They're feeling like prices are too high. Interest rates are too high, right? We're not writing the strongest offer to make sure we're getting the house. We're just writing offers. Guys, and what's more frustrating to you and exhausting to you than to work with people that aren't willing to get the deal done? Right? We have to match their motivation. They are motivated to buy. Kim's buyers are 100% motivated to buy. They are motivated to write an offer. But guess what? They're not doing it in the right market if they're losing, right? So now they're up against buyers that just are more motivated than they are to get these houses. And unfortunately, they're now going to have to take a little bit of a step back or take a different plan of action to win in this market. Okay. What questions, comments, thoughts do you guys have about that? I kind of went everywhere as far as what this motivation is, but is that making sense? I want you to understand that you can control finding out what their motivation is. How motivated are they? Right? You can control understanding their threshold for risk, right? For Kim, ABC buyer, we just did it last week. Here's how the A buyers are getting the offers. You have to be able to offer so much over or at list price or over list price, right? You lay out those things. And then it's, are you in the right market for the type of buyer you are or not? We might be in the wrong market. Okay. So find that out. Let's jump in. Okay. Sorry. One more thing I wanted to talk about motivation. Motivation means three things: ready, willing, able, right? That seems really simple, but let's talk about what each of those things mean. What does ready mean? Ready means they're educated on the market. They understand what they're up against. They understand if they're going to write an offer. And Kim, I'm just going to keep picking on your people, so don't take it personally, but it's the best example. How many people have buyers like Kim's right now that you're writing offers, they're liking things, they're falling in love, they're just not getting the offer accepted? It's definitely happening. So they are definitely motivated. They're ready to write an offer, right? But are they able financially to do what it takes to win an offer in this market, right? So they're ready. They know what they want. It's out there. Are they able, right? Are they financially able? And are they willing? Okay. Because that's the other thing. As motivation shifts, their willingness shifts. We could, but do we want to? Why would we do that? Okay. So that's what you guys are trying to spend some time really. You're going to uncover these questions to find out, are they ready to buy? Are they willing to do what it takes to buy in this market? And are they able financially to get it all together? Okay. So, how many of you, when you talk to a buyer the first time, that's truly what you want to know? Right? Let's just get to it. Can you buy a house and are you in your right market and can I sell it to you? Great. Then let's meet. Okay. That's what I'm trying to get you guys in this prequel to really understand. Lots of us are ending up with a whole pipeline of buyers because we're not pre-qualifying well enough. Okay. So one of the things is you're going to have A+ buyers that just aren't ready.
Hey,
Okay.
Julie,
It's
can
just the
I ask you a
motivation.
question about
Of
that?
course.
Because our
Yes.
motivation is there. I think it's expectations. So they are looking at homes that are at the top of their price range because they're beautiful. Someone's redone them, they're gorgeous,
Yeah.
and they're seeing its price a little bit high. The comp, and when we look at the comps, it's a little bit high, and they're like, well, that's too high. We should, pay 10K under that. And then they're going over multiple offers and going over asking. And so it's like this expectation that they should be able to get the house at current comps, even though the house is done, it's beautiful, it's move-in ready. And then we look at something that's maybe 50K under, which is really in their budget, but the house needs work. So they don't want to do the work, but they
Ding,
don't want to
ding,
pay the
ding.
price.
You guys, Kim is telling you what the market looks like right now. Put it on the hat for the buyer and the seller, right? This is exactly what a shift looks like. Yes, you're nailing it, Kim. So now go back to your question. So it feels like their expectations are wrong. Where's that fall? You
Well,
said they're ready.
yeah.
Are they willing?
Yeah,
They're
they're
not
they're
willing.
not
They're not
willing
willing to
unless
do
it's
what it
perfect.
takes. Yeah.
Right.
Right, right, right.
And I
So
feel like I
here's,
have buyers where I've gone through this a couple times where there's like a learning curve and we go through a
yes.
couple and then after like the fourth house we
Yeah.
don't win. It's like, well, and I tell
Okay.
them, guys, I think this is going to go over asking, and they're like, well, we'll just try.
Yeah.
And
So
then
you
there's
got
like
to
a learning
show
curve.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is. Yeah. So you guys, you got to know that there is a learning curve always. And I say this a lot of times, agents I coach, you kind of have to let them lose one, right? They have to lose one sometimes to truly understand. But if they're losing too many, now your guys are just spinning your wheels and they're going to get frustrated and they're going to stop, right? Because ultimately what you want is buyers that are going to succeed. So what we got to do is we got to match up those two, right? So unfortunately, they are ready and they're probably able. The problem is they're not willing to do what it takes to be the winning offer. Okay. So Kim, come back off for a little bit and let's kind of just keep talking through this because I know you're not the only one struggling with this right now. So how would then, what do you think is their willingness? So what we know already, have you had the conversation of are they willing to go over list price?
I think they would be willing to go over list price if it was, though, again, the house was less than what we're looking at. So, like right now, we're looking at, say, 400. They really want to be at or say, yeah, 400. They really want to be at like 350. So, if we're looking at like 325s, then yes, they'd be willing to go over list price. But those 325s are not fixed up. They're not looking
Yeah.
gorgeous, you know?
Right.
So we have to find like a happy medium where like maybe the kitchen's done, but the bathrooms aren't, or something
Okay.
like in that road.
Yeah. And this I see as a perfect ABC scenario. Okay. So what I would do in this instance, Kim, is give them examples of listings that have been A, B, and C on their list. What made them A, B, and C, right? So your first choice is one that has this, and this, is updated, is this, has the big yard you want, has 4 bedrooms you want, has all the things, and it's also priced at $450. right? A B house might be priced at 400, but here's what you're going to have to deal with on a B house. Then we have a C house that'll be priced at 350, and here's what a C house is going to look like. It's priced at 350 because it's going to be this much different, $100,000 different, right, from the 450. So on the education, you kind of have to show them, right, what's happening and what they can expect in that market. And then they have to line it up to the kind of houses they can buy, right? So if they're ready and they're able, but they're just not willing to do it, that's okay. But that's what we have to decide before we write the offers, right? Are you willing to go over now that you're seeing everything in your market? Now, you guys, here, let's talk about this. We're talking a lot about how you don't know your market right now. And every market is different, right? So you may go into this listing thinking there's no way they won't have 15 offers, and you do it and you're like, oh my God, they had 27 offers, right? So sometimes you don't know. So just know that your first go round with everyone is going to be like, we didn't expect that. Now we know. Now let's kind of shift our challenge, what we're doing here, right? But after a handful of them, you should know why they're not winning. And then the conversation is, okay, now, do you want to win? How important is it to you to have a house now? And Kim, what would they say?
That's pretty important because they're trying to get out of a rental.
Okay. Okay. So we know we have to have something in the next 60 days. So now let's talk about where they can win, right? So what could they possibly win on?
I think it's one of those Bs or Cs, obviously. I think they just have to lower their expectations. And we're
Okay.
actually looking at a house this afternoon that's a little
They're
bit
going to
better.
find one because we've had
I
all this conversation.
Yeah, and I think they're
Okay.
starting to come around that it's just not the high end homes are just not going to work on their budget.
You guys, champagne budget, beer or champagne taste and a beer budget.
Right.
That's what you got to know those words, and you're going to have to say them to your buyers sometimes. Like, unfortunately, here's what I'm feeling from you. I think we kind of are looking for champagne on a beer budget, right? Because we want to spend 350 and get champagne, right? And unfortunately, all I've got at 450, right, is like it just doesn't work, and you have to kind of show them that. So number one, she could help them lower their expectations, right? Get more aligned. What else are her options? What other houses, guys? So we've got the B and C, we've got alignment of expectations. Or could they wait? Right? They could wait and watch for the properties that are going to align, wait for the market to catch up. They could also wait and only go after houses that are on the market where the first offer fell apart. Right? So now if these 450s are the ones that they love, okay, then we'll go see every 450 that comes back on the market or that's still available after 3 days. Right? If no one's bought it in the first 3 days, depending on weekend, all that, right? Then maybe we could get into the game or a 7 days, right? Any house that seems perfect, we'll wait 7 days and see if anyone got it. Okay. So it's not a yes or no, like a hard fall either, right? We're not saying you can buy or you can't. It's just we have to find the right situation where we can put this together and make sure you win, right? And she may have it. The other thing is just to wait and see if the house comes up. Okay. And this is exactly what we're talking about. You guys are going to be doing a lot of this, a lot of writing more offers, a lot of having to have these motivation conversations with them, right? Because they're out there, they're doing things, but you're still not getting anywhere, right? Welcome to less motivated buyers. This is exactly what we're talking about, right? When their motivation's high, they're going to be willing to do whatever you say to get the houses, to do whatever, right? But when their motivation isn't that high, they don't have to buy or they're not highly motivated to, then we have to help them work through it. Great conversation. What else are you guys hearing? Okay, let's talk about the pre-qual. Okay, so let's talk about, we're going to start this week with just going through the script book and your script. Is anyone willing to be a buyer for me? Tim, you might be a really good one for this actually, because we could put your buyer's heads on and kind of pre-qual like they were if you were willing, but
Yeah,
I
I
don't know where
can.
you're at.
Yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead.
awesome. Okay. So let's talk about pre-qual. Remember, what are we doing in pre-qual? Motivation, right? We're looking for, are they motivated? Are they ready, willing, able? What are they looking for in the agent they want to hire? And do those two things align? Okay. This conversation we're going to have here should be when they very first call you to see a property. Okay. So take 1 second in the chat box and tell me how your leads are right now and how they're coming in on things. Are you getting buyer leads right now? Are you having buyers come to open houses? Are you having people call you and wondering what's going on in the market? Okay, so write that in the chat box if you are and where they're coming from. Okay, how are they contacting you these days, buyers? Okay, and then this conversation is going to happen in the very first time they call you. Okay, so Kim, let's turn back on your buyers. And how did you get them? If you don't mind sharing, what source did they come from?
Zillow.
Beautiful. These are the best. Okay.
They're the
And
worst.
well, it might be because of prequel. I
I'm just
know
kidding.
it
I'm just kidding.
sucks. It is. Well, it's true. It's true. They can be really hard, but if you prequal at a super high level, I think it'll help you. Okay. So, and they called you on a house, right? A specific address.
Yep.
Yep. Okay. Awesome. All right. So, hello, ring, ring. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah. Hi, this is Julie Downey. I'm a realtor with Sheets. How can I help?
Hi, we are interested in a home. Gonna want to go see a home on 123 Main Street over in Carmel.
Awesome. And what has you guys wanting to make a move?
We live in Indy right now, and we just want to get into the Carmel School District. We have a 2-year-old, so we're just wanting to kind of move north.
Okay, fantastic. And how long have you been looking for a home?
We're just starting now, actually.
Okay, great. Have you been in to see anything yet?
Not yet. You're the first person we've talked to.
All right, I love it. So you haven't been working with a realtor yet to help you
N-
get in and see some things?
Nope, not yet.
Okay, gotcha. So you said that schools is important, getting to the Carmel schools right before they start kindergarten. Is that the goal?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, great. And besides that, what other goals are you looking for?
We really want to be in the area. Gonna look at the map over by like the lakeshore area,
Okay,
just east of like 31,
got
or
it.
actually Keystone.
Okay, East Carmel. Okay, got it. And what will that do for you? Why East Carmel?
We just like those homes, those kind of like tri-level
Okay.
homes, that sort of mid-century modern feel.
Love it. Okay. So mid-century modern, you said, and I'd say that's about 20% of that market, 15 to 20% of that market over there. So is that the ideal house is a mid-century modern? If we find one that isn't,
Yeah,
are you still wanting?
we're up to that. We really want to be in between like let's see, it's Keystone to Gray, and then like 126 to 106, that little area right there, right where
Hmm.
Woodland Springs is.
Yeah,
We just
got
love
it.
that area. They have that
Okay.
community pool. We want to be able to, walk to the pool, that whole thing.
Love it. And if we find the right property, are you willing to write an offer today on it?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
we definitely love that area. So, yep, we're looking
Yeah.
for something
Okay.
there.
Okay. And in that area, it's a hot market. Can you imagine there's a lot of buyers looking for houses in that area?
Yeah, we've seen that. We've been watching on Zillow. We see the houses
Yeah,
go pretty quickly. Yep.
they do. So here's what happens. Unfortunately, in that area right now, we're going to be competing with quite a few other buyers. Are you guys willing to compete on offers, like go up against two and three other buyers when we're writing an offer on a house?
I mean, I think as long as we're within our budget, we definitely don't want to be house poor. So that's, as long as it fits with
Mhm.
what we're willing to pay.
Okay, perfect. Great. And then, do you have the financial ability if we were forced to go over the list price? or do cash incentives on an offer? Do you have the
Yeah,
ability to do that?
yeah, we are lucky enough. My parents are going to be helping us pay for the house, and so we're going to pay cash and then sell our house after. So
Got
we
it.
feel like that'll be a good position for us.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, I'd go into their house, right, and get a listing appointment set on their house, but
Yep,
let's
yep.
stay with buyers right now. Yeah, I know you did that. Okay, great. So let's talk about the three most important things in your new home. So, number one, in that location, right? We've already mapped out our geographical location, you said to me. What else?
We definitely need a backyard that can be fenced in, something kind of flat. We have a dog too, so we'd like, a space where we can play with my daughter and the dog. It doesn't
Okay.
have to have a fence, but like the ability to put in a fence is really important.
Okay, great. And who else is helping you make this decision on this house? I know you said your parents were helping financially. Will they be helping with looking at the houses or?
We'll definitely bring them by. They
Okay.
but they trust that we can go and find it. And then we'll let them know. We'll like show them once we find the right one.
Okay, beautiful, beautiful. Okay. And how soon are you wanting to be there?
I mean, we are pretty flexible. I work from home, so we can do this anytime, essentially, once we find the right one.
Perfect. Okay, great. Well, I think this is a perfect reason for us to meet. Let's kind of sit down. Let's really talk about where you're looking. I'll educate you on that market there, what we're up against, how we can prepare our best offer, and then we can start going in and looking at houses. How's that sound?
That sounds great.
Okay, great. Are you available maybe tomorrow afternoon?
Yeah, what time? It needs to be
Okay,
after
good.
probably about 5 o'clock.
Okay, done. Okay, so then I would set the buyer consultation because what did you guys learn in that questioning? What did you learn? Kim, you can answer too.
I mean, they're definitely willing, ready, and able. I think they don't quite know yet what that market looks like and how competitive it's going to be.
I know.
And I mean,
I think that's the challenge.
I have
Yeah,
that.
is they just need more time.
Yeah, and I have that sense also, even going into this and starting to work. We've been looking since last summer, essentially.
Mm,
So
yeah. Well, and you said it, right? When they have cash, they have zero urgency.
yeah,
Right? Their urgency isn't for 3 years when they start facing kindergarten, right? Because their
mhm,
daughter's two, or I think you said daughter's two, right? So
yeah, yeah,
immediately when you said that to me, I went, not urgent, not urgent, 3 years to
yeah,
buy, 3 years to buy, right? And
yeah,
that's how they're acting, correct? So
yeah,
it's going to have to be the perfect house to make them want to jump 3 years earlier.
yeah,
Right. So their motivation is going to be extreme as you get closer and closer to that. But unfortunately, until then, it's going to take the perfect house
yeah,
to get them to jump. Right. And that's truly what we're trying to identify in these initial conversations is what is it going to take? And now, how can I best lead them through this?
yeah. And we're looking at houses that we've looked at houses that do need some work. And in my mind, I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, this is perfectly fine. You guys could fix this up. It'd be great. I'm not pushing them at all. And then we go see a house that's
Mm-hmm.
perfect, but it's at the tippy top of their budget. And I'm like, yes, this looks gorgeous, but there's no room for you guys to,
Yeah.
bid on this
Mm-hmm.
one. It's like they either
Yeah.
take our price or not. And
Yeah.
just trying to understand how to educate them on that
Mhm.
to me
Yeah.
it's obvious.
So yeah. Well, and I know you are, I mean, like take it back to us, it's obvious, right, you guys? It's obvious. It's because it's the way our brain works. It's why we ended up in real estate, right? Because we get it. Not everyone does. And so you got to kind of take it back and make them explain it to you. Okay, Kim? So in your weekly buyer updates. Okay, here's what you could do. So the last three houses they wrote on. And guys, we are at 9 o'clock. So everyone jump off if you want to. I've got 4 more minutes to
Sorry,
stay on
everybody.
till I have to leave. And so let's quick kind of talk through this. But you could show them the last 3 offers that they wrote and what it was about those houses, right? That made them not win, and lay them out and just say, why do you think this one was 450? Right. You'd kind of take some they've looked at in the past and have them talk through it. Like, what do you think made this property 450 versus 350? And when we look at a 350, what are we willing to accept at that price? What condition do we want it in? And we already have to know, if it was everything a 450 was, it'd be priced at 450.
Right,
Right. So
right,
that's the very first thing. Like, if it was a 450, it'd be priced that way. So that's our very first sign that it's not worth 450, because it's on the market and not for 450.
right.
So maybe get them to just say, let's talk through these and why you didn't like these, or why we weren't willing to write over list price. What was off on these properties? Because if the property would have been perfect, they would have written over.
Yeah.
So it became they had objections and they don't have urgency. So then it's like, okay, then we'll just try it, right? We might as well try. Yeah. And unfortunately, in this market, when you're competing against, there's just no reason to try. And here's what
Yeah.
you risk. And here's the reason I would tell them, here's what concerns me about you continuing to try, is that it's just going to give you frustration in the market. And when we find the right one, I'm worried it's going to warp you for your physical, your mental ability to face what the market has when we
Yeah.
get there and we really need to compete.
Yeah. And
Because I see it happen all the time.
I kind of merged 2 buyers, but that buyer in that
Yeah.
area is like, we're looking at like the 600s now, because that area has
Mhm.
gone up since last summer, and they are seeing that now. I'm like, yes, those houses just keep going up in that area. There's no stalling in that spot. So I
And
think,
how many buyers waited? How many buyers took their foot off the gas last year because prices were
yeah,
going to go down, and now they're going,
right.
oh god. Yeah,
I
don't
mean,
wait, people.
we have such a strange market in Carmel and Zionsville. You hear in Westfield, you hear everywhere else prices are
Everywhere.
dropping, and like they are in some price ranges, but some price
That's
ranges
the
are still
key.
super hot.
That's the key,
Yeah.
Kim, is that it's everywhere now, and you just don't know when you're going into a market area price point if it's going to be buyer or seller market or somewhere in between.
Yeah. Sorry for taking all the
Yep.
time, guys. Thank you, Julie.
No, Kim, this was awesome. I guarantee there are lots of other people having the same thing, and I love it. I'd rather you guys bring me what you're dealing with personally, because you can learn more. So that was awesome. All right, you guys. So pre-qualify, set the appointment. We're going to talk about that next week, right? So making sure you're setting the appointments to get in front of those buyers, and then match their motivation to the right market and offer they need to write. And that will help you guys a ton. All right. I'll see you next week. Thank you, Kim.
Thank you, Julie. Bye, guys.